Hi, welcome back. Welcome if you're new.
Hi, my name's Erin.
I'm Elaina.
And today we are going to convince Elaina to read some underhyped romantasy by indie authors.
I have been a romantasy-snob for many years.
Yes, you have.
And it wasn't until last year that Erin made me start reading some romantasies that changed my mind.
It's just such good entertainment. It's such a great escape.
Yeah, I realize now I was just being a huge snob.
For sure. I'm going to explain each of the 4 series that we're going to talk about today. Their tropes, their spice level, what I liked and what I disliked. When Elaina has all the relevant information, she's going to rank them in order of which ones she wants to read. All 4 of these series are available on Kindle Unlimited.
Ooh, oh, say less. Okay, great. Whichever one is the most appealing, I will be adding the first one to my March TBR. And I'm going in blind. I don't even know what the series are.
So quickly, before we get started, I thought it would be useful to give kind of a baseline for the spice rating. Especially Elaina errs on the side of being prudish. As a baseline, I consider Fourth Wing to be a 4 out of 5 spice.
Okay.
I think generally people would say it's a 3, but for my purposes, we're saying Fourth Wing is a 4.
Got it. 4 out of 5 baseline.
Yeah.
Great. I'm so excited.
Okay, cool. So let's get started with the first series, the Kindred's Curse series by Penn. The first book is Spark of the Everflame. There's going to be 4. There's 3 out right now. I have read the first 2 and I am like 60% of the way through the 3rd one.
But it's not a complete series?
The next one comes out the 1st of March.
Oh, okay.
So you're okay.
That was almost a big point against it.
Oh, I'm so glad I knew that. In this world, I think 7 gods have basically colonized this mortal realm. And each of the gods mated with a mortal, and in doing so essentially gave up their immortality. The descendants of the mortal and the gods, they've got magic, and they rule over these mortals.
Okay.
In an oppressive type way. The story revolves around Diem, who is a mortal. So she gets tangled up with the descendants when her mother goes missing mysteriously and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So that's basically the premise of the book, and then it all explodes from there. First, I'll do some tropes that are in this series. Okay, we've got enemies to lovers.
Okay.
I feel like that's like most romantasy. Anyway.
So true.
Touch her and die.
Ooh.
Obviously, mortals versus gods. Who did this to you? Trope.
Oh my god.
Really good found family. Really lovable mythical creatures.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the last one is like political intrigue.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the tropes we're working with. Now we'll talk about what I liked about this series. Okay, I think it has really good world building, which you will appreciate, and a really interesting magic system. There's a map at the beginning that's incredibly useful, and even like the geography of it is really interesting. Like an island with like an island in the middle. Do you know what
like
is that
a
called?
donut?
Yeah. No. Like a circle, and then the sea, and then an island in the middle.
Ooh,
what is
almost
that
like
called?
a dartboard or something.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. First book is the best, and it has a really, really strong ending.
Ooh, okay.
It reminds me very much of another fantasy series we have read and really enjoyed.
But do you not want to say which one it is? Because spoiler?
Yeah. And then the love interest is really cool. His name is Luther, which I think is kind of a con, but he's dark and brooding, but he's like a mild shadow daddy.
Okay.
He's not quite, he also does light magic. It's like shadow and light. Plus he's really powerful. So those are the things I liked about it. All right, here's the things that I don't like. I put this at the top of things I don't like, but it's not good or bad. It's literally the slowest burn I have ever read. A lot of people love this about this series, that like it is like full of angst. It got a little too much for me. Okay, this one is a big one. I really don't like the main character, Diem, which is unfortunate. I think she's whiny. She kind of like has her head in the sand the whole time, like to the point of delusional half of the time. And a lot of people seem to think that call her very fierce and like love her standing up for what she believes in. It doesn't come off that way to me. She just seems absolutely pig-headed and brings the story down.
To me, that is also common in romantasy. It feels like a lot of the female main characters are like, we're being told like she's sassy and snarky.
Yes,
and spunky. And it's like, is she, or is she just like really stubborn and not paying attention?
And then the only other serious con I have is just that this third book is just way too long. She's tried to fit way too much in, as far as I'm concerned. It just keeps dragging. Fourth one will sort of sum it up, so we will see. But those were kind of the two cons.
Okay, and what is the spice level?
Oh, of course, I forgot. So for most of it, it is like a 0.5. Third book does get a little spicier, and it bumps it up to a 2.5. So yeah.
All right, starting strong. All right, and what was that one called again?
That is called Kindred, the Kindred's Curse series by Penn.
Gotcha, the Kindred's Curse series. Got it.
All right, moving on. Okay, the next series is the Everking series.
Oh, okay. I know a little bit about this from you.
Yes, by L.J. Andrews. I read the first in this series back in like December, and then the second in this duology just came out at the end of January, so I finished that as well. That one was called the Ever Queen. So their story is just a duology, and then she's going to expand it to the other characters. Okay, so in this series, the Earth Fae and the Sea Fae have been at war with each other for decades, and the King of the Sea Fae ends up kidnapping one of the Earth Fae King's daughters and holds her for ransom. But then the two are drawn to each other, even though they are enemies, and everybody realizes that they actually have more of a history than anybody knows.
Oh, so this isn't their first meeting.
It's not their first meeting.
Okay, that kind of helps with the Stockholm syndrome of it all.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple questions.
Okay.
Are there humans in this world?
Technically, there are mortals.
Okay. Second question. There are multiple Earth Fae kings, but only one Sea Fae king?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and that kind of leads into one of my issues with this series, is that it is technically the second series in a world that this author has created.
Okay.
So I found it a bit difficult because the first series is like a 7-book series. I haven't read it either. That was the problem, is a lot of stuff happened in that series that's alluded to in this one, and you kind of feel like you're playing catch up if you haven't read it. Even though it's very much marketed as a standalone, and it can be, but it would definitely be beneficial to read the first.
So what are the tropes?
The tropes of this one are obviously pirates, fae, and Vikings. It's like a pirate / Viking type vibe, which is really cool. I like how she's done that. There's mermaids, there's sirens, there's like fjords and stuff. I mean, like, she's just put a lot into this world. We've obviously got enemies to lovers, dual POV, villain gets the girl, morally gray hero. And do you know what I like about this one? Is that she becomes morally gray.
Ooh, okay.
She leans into his darkness.
So it's not cool. Like, I do kind of dislike the pairing of like, she's like innocent and virginal and, you know, goodness incarnate.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need that because I'm kind of dark.
Yeah. No, like she goes dark.
Getting corrupted by the pirate king.
Exactly. Yeah. The last tropes are forced proximity. Obviously, he's kidnapped her.
And you're on a boat, I assume.
Yes. Nicknames, which apparently is a trope.
Oh.
And found family again. So those are the tropes we're working with. Oh, let's do the spice level now.
Okay.
I would say that this one's a 4.
Okay.
If Fourth Wing is a 4, then this is a 4.
Okay.
What did I like about it? Okay. I loved the dual POV. It was so interesting to see both sides of this love story. There was really good tension. It was a very good enemies to lovers, I hate you. Like, I think she did a really good job with the angst in this one.
Okay, like they actually spend some time as enemies first?
Yes.
Okay.
I already said this, but I do really like that she gets dark. I love the found family aspect of this one on both sides. Like, the Ever King has found family, but also the princess, Livia, has her own family situation going on. And I thought all those characters were really well done. And the author's very obviously setting it up so that the spin-offs are people that we've really invested in. And I think that makes the series better, that she's like already thinking ahead. Do you know what I mean? I really like the pirates and the sirens and the mermaids. And it's very whimsical and fun. And there's like, the ship can go underwater and travel and things. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean almost, you know? Okay, the first thing I did not like about this series is that the nicknames get a little cringe.
Okay, I was gonna ask, are the nicknames good nicknames or?
Like, the idea of the nicknames and where they come from is very nice and sentimental. By the end of the second book, you really want to not hear either one of those names ever again in your life.
Yeah, nicknames can be
They don't even
risky.
like roll off the tongue. Her name's Livia and her nickname is Songbird. It's just like, that's so much harder to say. And his name is Eric and his nickname is Serpent. And I'm like, I don't find it attractive to call anyone a serpent. I don't know, it's just not my thing.
That comes down to the individual.
I think it does. The second real issue is that the second book was just not as good as the first. Point blank. I mean, again, like, she tried to really widen the universe in the second book to the point where it just felt a little chaotic. And the tension and the slow burn of it all from the first was sorely lacking from the second, which I understand.
Oh yeah, that is always tricky.
It's tricky, and it did not work here. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really, really missed it, especially because it was just done so well in the first book that you associated the series with that.
So you're kind of craving more of that.
Yeah, but overall, like, the first is so good that it's still a very good series in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The third series is Flame and Sparrow by S.M. Gaither. This is a duology. Only the first book is out. The second book should be out, I think, by the end of this year. So this one I am currently reading. I am 75% of the way through.
Okay.
I just want to make that clear. So this book centers around an elf named Karis, and one day she wakes up and her sister has been like brutally murdered in the room next door. But she goes on this revenge trip for the next 5 years because she blames the divine gods for her sister's murder, and she wants to get back at the divine gods. But then all of her rebellious activities basically land her in some hot water, and she meets the god of fire, Draven, who knows? And then things get complicated for her and she has to reevaluate her beliefs.
Because he's the god of fire, he's
hot. Yeah, and she has to sort of like decide what is real and what's not. Okay, the tropes are enemies to lovers, found family, he falls first, touch her and die, he's the fire god, like, yeah. Deadly trials.
Ooh.
And meddling gods, which is one of my favorites. It's good. I really like those ones. One horse, which apparently people are really into.
I low-key love one horse.
Okay. Well, you will be...
Like, one horse, one bed. You know what I mean?
I prefer it the other way around. Adorable mythical creatures and neurodivergence.
Oh, okay. All right. The synopsis, I was like, okay. But those tropes.
Yeah, I was not expecting this dives me into the good. The deadly trials are what make this fun for me. I liked that in ACOTAR in the only part of the first book I liked was the deadly trials.
Same.
The thing I like about this is that what makes her different and can be considered like struggles in other aspects of her life turn out to be super helpful in these trials and are what like makes her stand out.
Ooh.
And it's really cool. I really liked that part of it. I love the meddlesome gods. I actually thought the premise and the world building, while it took a while, was really interesting. There's like these 3 overarching gods who created the elves and then basically decided the elves were too powerful and wanted to like wipe them out and start again. So they tried to wipe them out and create a new race of mortals because they thought the mortals would be more
easy to control.
Exactly. But they wanted to have like a go-between. So then they created the middle gods. From the race of mortals, they ascend like the god of fire, the god of ice, to be a go-between. And it's really interesting because obviously she's an elf, so she's been oppressed and forgotten, but she's just trying to figure it all out.
Are the humans oppressed?
No.
Interesting. That seems unique.
Yeah.
So the elves are the race that is like
shunned. She's done a good job building it up because it can be quite confusing. So the other things that I liked about it are that the mythical creatures are so cute. They are like companion-esque. Do you know what I mean?
I love adorable mythical creatures.
Yeah. There are good reveals in this book. I think she's done a good job of sprinkling the reveals throughout so far. And lastly, I really do like the neurodivergence. I think that it's really interesting in the main character. I think she's done it really well.
So what are the drawbacks?
So like I kind of mentioned, the world building can be a bit confusing. There's a lot that she's trying to accomplish by creating this world. And since it's only a duology, I think she feels the need to really flesh it out quicker than maybe you would have in other series. And so I found myself really having to do that thing that everybody says you have to do in Crescent City, where you just don't understand anything for the first 100 pages.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And you're just like, okay. And
you're
then
just
finally,
along for the ride.
Yeah, like eventually it clicks. I thought that very much pertained here. And then lastly, con is that it's a very slow start.
Okay.
It's like a 600-page book, and you don't really even get to the love interest until like 35% of the way in, which, you know, there have been other books where that's worked out fine.
Yeah.
I think it kind of hinders this one a little bit. I think they spend too much time trying to build her up.
Trying to give the background,
set the stage, yeah, that it's hard to get into.
Yeah.
But then once you get into it, it's good.
Okay.
All right?
So what's the spice level?
So I think the spice level on this, I'd say this is a 3.5.
Sorry, I was yawning.
Maybe a 4. Okay, so we are on to the fourth and final series, which is the Lochlann Feuds series by Elle, Madison, and Mahle. This is a 4-book series, and it revolves around our main character, Rowan.
Cool gender-neutral name.
She goes on a little adventure on the hunt for vodka in the enemy territory.
Literally vodka?
Literally vodka.
Okay.
And basically gets trapped there.
Oh
and
my
has
God.
to figure out how to get back home and what she's gonna do. She doesn't even get the vodka. Actually, you know what? I think she does, and she drinks it in the dungeon.
You might as well at that point.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what to do with her.
Gotcha.
Do we kill her? Do we marry her off to
What's
one
the
of
most
us?
valuable?
Yeah, they literally have like a whole convention of the country. And that is the plot of at least the first book, is just her being captured and them trying to decide what they're gonna do with her, and her figuring out what she's wanting to do.
Is this a long book?
No, these are short books. And that's just the premise. And obviously it blows up from there.
Right.
I will say that, yeah, the first book is probably the weakest because the tropes are enemies to lovers, one bed, and it's got to be by far the best one bed trope I've ever read.
Oh, wow.
Cultural differences, because Rowan comes from a country based off of like Scottish culture, essentially. And her enemy is like a Russian type.
I was wondering because vodka.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cultural differences, and they're like constantly part of the plot, and it's really interesting. Really good banter. Also a one-horse trope, but not as prevalent as the one bed. Very morally gray hero. Political intrigue, and I didn't know what kind of trope this was, but really good family dynamics. Book 3 focuses mostly on Rowan and her family, and it's like really, really infectious. I loved reading about her and her relationship with her family.
It's actually rare, I think, to find that in romantasy and in fantasy in general.
Yeah, so those are the tropes we're working with. The spice level is like a 0.5. It is a very, very, very well done fade to black.
Okay.
I think you will really appreciate it.
Yes.
The good things about this series are, first and foremost, the main character. Rowan is the best. She's literally there because she was looking for vodka. She's so funny. She's really witty. The banter is fantastic in this book. She can hold her own, but she's not like overbearing. I mean, she's just like really, really likable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big one. Okay.
It is. Top 3 best book boyfriend of all time.
Whoa. Okay.
I love him. Dark, brooding, very, very sexy. Really good tension, really good angst. The second book is all tension, and I literally stayed up until like 4 a.m. It was like one of those that you can't stop reading because you just have to get to the part where they get together.
Oh.
Those are the things I liked about it. The only thing I didn't like about this is that it's low fantasy and there's hardly any magic.
So not much spice and not much magic.
Correct.
But still romantasy?
I think people are calling it a romantasy because it's very much a fantasy world.
Okay.
And by the end of the series, the 4th book, magic does come into play.
Okay. It's not like there's no magic.
Correct. I mean, she's descended from Fae.
Cool.
But it's not the focal point. But you're right, I have heard some criticism that like there's no magic, so can it be called romantasy? I'm gonna say yes though. There we go. Those are the 4. Kindred's Curse, The Everking, Flame and Sparrow, Lochlann Feuds series. Do you have any other questions? What do you think?
Which one was the one with the bad nicknames?
The Everking.
Right. I think the Everking would have been in first place for me, but bad nickname sounds
Did that ruin it?
Sounds so annoying.
Oh. Okay.
That would have been my number 1.
Okay.
But it's the Lochlann Feuds for me. But that's the one, like, if I'm being honest with myself, that's the one I'm most immediately interested to read.
Yeah.
And when you said that the second book kept you up at night waiting for them to get together, that is what I love.
Okay.
That is everything to me.
Yeah.
And like 4th Wing had that for me of just wanting to get to the part where they're together.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to say, okay, Elaina, you need to read something that is like romantasy, like by the book romantasy, then I would probably pick the Everking. Mermaids sound cool and like pirates and Vikings. The world of that is so appealing.
I think you'll like that one. All right, then what would you do with the other 2?
Then between the other 2, Kindred's Curse is going to go in number 4 place for me.
Okay.
Annoying main character is difficult for me to get around. And that is something like that has ruined a book for me in the past.
Fair enough.
Which leaves the Flame and the Sparrow, which actually I'm very, very interested in. I mean, I'm going to put it in number 3, but I am still interested in reading that too.
That makes sense.
You know?
That's, okay, so...
I love Deadly Trials and adorable magical creatures. That's big.
I promise this wasn't planned, but that's literally my order of...
How you expected?
How I like... No, how I like them.
Oh, interesting.
That's like my ranking of them. My Goodreads ranking would be in that order. Like I said, all of these are available on Kindle Unlimited. So, Lochlann Feuds, guess what? I'm just gonna buddy read it again with you.
Oh, yay! Okay, fun. Exciting. Okay, that's gonna go on my March TBR.
Okay, great.
If you want to see what else is going on my March TBR, I am planning to film a TBR video. We're going to do scratch off cards. March is going to be a big month.
These indie authors have worked so hard, and these are such amazing stories. I'm so, so grateful that they have been able to get their stories out there. Please, please pick them up. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let's make them blow up.
Kindred's Curse is definitely on its way. Like, people are talking about that a lot.
It's headed.
And I think Everking as well.
Please like this video if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below with which series Erin convinced you to read. And subscribe if you are new.
Let us know any other indie authors that we should check out. And until our next video, see you later.